The views and opinions expressed at Enhanced Down Under are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official views of the company. Any content provided by our hosts are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.
Welcome to Enhanced Down Under, the official podcast channel of Enhanced NT. My name is Anna and I am a qualified education agent counselor.
And my name is Jairus and I work with Enhanced NT.
Alright, so before we proceed to our episode for today, let's have a quick recap of the previous episode, which was episode 21, that tackles about the international students cap, which is set to happen in January 2025. So in that episode, we have mainly discussed the impact, which mostly are sadly negative in the international education sector. Because if once it is implemented, we expect that there would be some job losses. Plus, of course, this what do we call the impression that Australian government is hostile, hence it turns away other potential international students and they start to consider other study destinations that are, they say, more friendly, like Italy, US, Germany. So even those non-English speaking countries, they are going to benefit from what is happening now with the stricter visa rules in Australia. Today, we are going to discuss, what's our topic for today, Jairus?
Hi, so today our topic will be Australia's new student caps and their impacts on international education and the vet sector.
Okay.
So apparently, since they passed the student caps for next year, they call it the NPL, the National Planning Level, and it's supposed to apply to higher educations and vocational education sectors,
Yes.
but it excludes schools and standalone English providers, right?
Right. So the time that during the time that we recorded our previous episode, the cap has not yet been confirmed. But shortly after, we received this news that yes, it's confirmed. It will be implemented in January 2025. So the numbers would be the same. The enrollment numbers would be the same pre-pandemic. That means 2019. That's like around how many? How many enrollments? 270,000.
270, coming from 700,000, I think.
Yeah,
for this
yeah.
year.
So that's like 40% decrease.
Yeah.
So they are going to limit the, the coming of international students, and mainly the motivations behind that. The motivations of the Albanese government is to control the overpopulation and the migration. Because of the housing issues, again, one of the major points that they are reiterating.
They're blaming. They're saying that it might be because of we have too many international students.
Yep.
That's having issues with the housing crisis and everything.
So the cap would apply, as Jairus mentioned, to both universities and VET, or vocational education training schools, VET sectors. When you say VET sectors, those are schools that offer programs like cookery, like kitchen management, hospitality, carpentry. Those are very popular, and they produce really skilled people that potentially become permanent residents in Australia and contribute to Australia's economy.
I think they're mostly focused on skilled work.
Yes.
I think with those courses, they're the ones that have apprenticeship courses.
Yes.
So like if you want to be a carpenter, you can apply for apprenticeship after.
Yeah.
If you want to be a tradie, electrician, you can apply for apprenticeship
And
after.
I believe they're very important roles, because not everyone is aiming for university, even if they can afford it, because they just don't see themselves becoming, researchers, doctors, engineers. Some are, they have these skills that,
and they're paid very well. They're paid very well here in Australia.
Yes, they are paid very well.
If you see the houses of some of the tradies that we have, like the construction workers, the electricians, the plumbers, it's common for them to have like massive houses, like big cars, because they paid a lot. They get paid a lot by the hour.
Especially, well, when I was working at the embassy, my boss mentioned before that, those traders, they earn more than myself.
Yeah, they get paid a lot.
Yeah, and they can afford to take longer holidays because of, they have very good pays. They receive very good salaries. Now, because of the implementation of this NPL, or National Planning Level, or the CAP, they are expecting to the vet sectors would be mainly affected, and those universities that receive more international students. So the rationale is, the more international students you have, the less allocation would be given to you. So if your business is mainly dependent on international students, more dependent than with international students than domestic, definitely your business would suffer.
Yeah,
you would feel the dent.
It's
So,
gonna be a major issue.
it
once,
is.
They started cutting the students. A lot of the businesses are gonna feel it.
So there are some sectors that are excluded, that will not be affected by the cap or by the limit. One would be ELICOS, or the English Language International, for international students.
Intensive
ELICOS.
courses. Yeah.
So ELICOS, it's a non-award. When you say non-award, that means you're not going to earn a degree, and you're not going to get a certificate from that. But ELICOS is very important because it leads to it becomes your pathway to foundation programs, or your preparation to college or university.
Yeah.
So ELICOS, it's not affected. What else? What other courses are not affected? The higher degree by research programs.
Yeah.
So they will not be included in the cap. So even if the school would have, like, let's say 30 ELICOS students, that will not be counted.
Yeah.
Because
Is higher degree like people taking masters and doctorates, or are those the higher degrees?
by
that you're
research,
talking about?
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That will not be included. And those schools, when you say schools here in Australia, that refers to high school.
Yeah. Oh, high school.
High school. So if you are, grade up to grade 12, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will not be counted. That will not be included in the cap. And other non-award programs that would lead to earning a pathway to your university. So I think recently we were visited by a friend from a partner school. Her name is Maria from Alana K College. Yeah, she's based in Gold Coast, and she had a quick visit in Darwin. And Alana K is very strategic.
Yeah.
Especially now, because their Darwin campus, they have more population of domestic students. So that's very good for their business.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do not have to worry about the less cap. Although Maria said that they have to be very specific and be more careful now in getting enrollees. They have to be strategic because they cannot just accept enrollees,
I guess,
unlike before.
like the way I see it, the way you say it, I feel like Alana K, they were more realistic with their expectations.
And Alana is visionary.
I feel like they saw that maybe this boom of people coming in
Yes.
is not going to last long. It's probably just like an inflation of people coming in. So instead of banking on the whole international students, they focus more on the domestic market, the local market.
Yeah.
And that's why they're not really too worried about what's
Yes.
happening right now.
Yes, that's why their school here in Darwin, their college in Darwin, it continues to thrive.
Yeah.
Very
And
good.
they have a really good venue too. They have good facilities in
They
Alana K.
have, and we visited them a couple of times,
Yeah.
and as always, the facilities are very impressive. So, yeah, that's very good. So ELICOS, it's not affected. Research, higher degree by research, they are not affected.
Also, government-sponsored scholars are affected.
Yes, when you say government-sponsored programs, scholarship offered by Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, that's one. So during my tenure at the embassy, at the Australian Embassy in Manila, I have some colleagues, that who applied for a scholarship. They're given once they have passed.
What are the criteria to apply? I guess this is one of the things that I feel like aren't talked about, and a lot of people might not know that there's scholarships offered by
The government.
The government. So what are the typical criteria that they ask for a scholarship?
What I remember is your chosen program should have a relevance to your home country. Meaning you should be able to apply that to your work.
Yeah.
You have to return to your home country after 2 years. So that's one of the major considerations.
Yeah.
So that's a very generous offer.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
At least like there's access to people who might not be able to afford it.
And I don't think they're particular with age.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so question here is how the caps will be distributed. Okay, so
I guess it says here that individual universities will focus on higher concentrations of foreign students or that have grown more quickly in recent years. It could also receive lower cap allocations, while those with lower proportions of international enrollment may receive additional student spaces under the NPL.
Right. So universities with higher concentrations of foreign students, especially in recent years, could receive lower allocations. And again, those who are focused or on getting international students would really feel the dent.
I feel like with this one, with this line, they're focusing on the schools that suddenly grew after the pandemic.
After the pandemic, I believe so. Because again, the 270,000 enrollments
is what it was proposed pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic. It's actually the same number. Pre-pandemic times 2019. So some would actually say that, hey, why are you doing this to us? Come on. It's not as if it's something new. They, the Albanese government just encouraged more people to come over here during the pandemic times, of course, to help the economy. But if you are going to look back and, have a closer look, 2019, it's actually the same, 270,000. And the government is just, let's go back to 270,000 pre-pandemic times, because now they think that, they have to control the population, and the government has every right to do so.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of like a test, in my opinion.
Because it could be.
2019 is what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? So normally, like with these things, they raise every year, right? And now they're just going to go back to the baseline of what they last changed to 2019, and then see how it affects the country. And then after that, we're probably going to increase it slowly again.
I think,
But then again, the Albanese government election starts next year, so we might see different changes after that.
We will see. So, but we do not expect any major changes favorable to international international education sector in the next year or so.
It doesn't help too that at the moment with the inflation going on,
a
lot of the like basic goods and prices are going up. Like what it used to back in pre-pandemic levels. Like if you go to Kohl's, you go to Woolies, how much like the
prices
meats,
increased.
the veggies, and all that. It's a lot more
I'm
expensive.
feeling
right
that. Just to give you people an example, this a dozen of eggs, it was less than $6 just a few days ago. Now it's more than $6. It's just a few cents. Some people would say, but come on.
And the hard part is, especially here in Darwin, it's only two stores. It's either Kohl's or Woolies. Unless, like in Sydney,
they have more options in bigger cities.
Like Kohl's and Woolies are the usual ones, and then if you go here, IGA is another one.
IGA?
But the IGA in Darwin is it's kind of like a convenience store.
So that means it's more expensive.
But if you go to Sydney, they have like actual supermarkets too. IGAs, they have Aldi. Aldi's like a massive one.
Do we have Aldi here?
No. There was a massive petition to try to bring it here in Darwin, but then the problem is the amount of people in Darwin itself doesn't warrant opening another store in in the territory. But then Aldi prices are great because they use a lot of off-brand. So what Aldi does is they buy, instead of actually partnering with other brands, they buy like offshoot brands itself and they rebrand it as Aldi. So sometimes you could buy Tim Tams. Like Tim Tams could be like $7. They would buy like another company that makes something close to Tim Tams and then rebrand it, and they would sell it for like $3. Yeah.
What a move.
So sometimes if you go to Aldi, you can buy like detergents for almost like half of the
So
half
they're
of the
more
price.
affordable.
A lot affordable. Even for some of the vegetables. When I was there, normally I buy capsicums every year, every week.
Capsicum.
It's bell peppers for other people.
Bell pepper.
For here, it's like $7 a kilo. But when I was at Aldi in Sydney, it was like $2. Like that's a massive.
I'm beginning to love
price.
Aldi.
I wish there was one.
All right. So yeah, going back to the vet sector being affected by this cap, they said that 95,000 of the 270,000 allocation would go to vet sector. Imagine how many vet schools are there, and 95,000 will be distributed to all of them.
It's like maybe 2 students per school, maybe 3
So
students
I'm
per
wondering
school.
how many will come to Darwin. You were wondering, you mentioned that to me earlier before we start our recording. So yeah, here in Darwin we are less populated. So we were actually hoping that more students would come, because students are very important, especially in filling the labor gap.
And the thing with Darwin is we rely heavily on international students. Not just international students, actual international people, like migrants
workers.
in itself.
Yep.
Like if you take out all of the migrants in Darwin, I feel like a lot of the service would probably stop.
I think so.
Because you would see like people, even just in everything, like the government offices, the restaurants, everything. A lot of the businesses, they're staffed by migrants and other skilled workers. So we're probably going to feel that hit once the cap starts.
Our partner schools, they have started issuing their notices saying that because of the cap implementation, they are going to make a few adjustments with on how they compensate their partners like us. They're very generous, our partner schools, in giving compensation for referrals and giving them clients. But since because of the implementation of CAP, they expect that they would get less enrollees. Hence, they are going to they informed us and they requested for our consideration that hey, because of the implementation of CAP effective January 2025, new referrals would only get like 25% commission as compared to 30% before, which we definitely understand. That's understandable because, come on, we're not just after commissions here. We're here to help each other. So we can weather this. So we have started receiving information from our partner schools on how they are going to assess their students, the potential students. Of course, most of them, they prefer international students who are already here on shore or in Australia. Why?
But what happens now that, so if they're an international student here, they can't reapply for another student visa, right? Onshore.
They can.
They can still apply.
Because there are some whose visas are expiring even before they finish their program.
So student to another student visa, you can apply
They
onshore?
can, but they can do that, especially if it's not enough to the duration of their visa is not enough to cover their programs.
So it's just the non-student applying for a student visa.
485 visa holders.
Okay.
Postgraduate visa holders, they cannot apply for a student visa while they're in Australia, and those who are holder of 600 visa or tourist visa, they cannot. They have to make an exit, lodge their application outside of Australia. Otherwise, their application would be considered invalid.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So, some partners they prefer students who are already on shore because it's easier. The process would be easier. Because some already have an ongoing case with AAT or Administrative Appeals Tribunal. They can some partner schools, they do accept students, enrollees from who have pending cases with the AAT or ongoing cases. I am not sure on how they treat the enrollments of those people with ongoing appeals. Maybe they're being considered like domestic students. I don't know how. I don't know how they are. But still, of course, if they wish to continue their studies, even though they can actually, even if with their AAT appeal, it buys them time. That's why. So they can still continue with their studies. Of course, they have to be responsible enough to check the conditions of their visa. If their visa allows them for study, then they can. All right, so 95,000 will go to the vet sector. And okay, what is the importance of vet? Vocational education training sectors. So what is the contribution of the vet sectors to the economy of Australia?
Based on this one, for vet, which is vocational education and training, they have a massive economic impact. So the vet sector attracts a substantial number of international students, contributing millions of dollars in tuition fees and living expenses. This supports local economies, particularly in areas like housing, retail, and hospitality, where students spend on accommodation, food, transport, and other services. Another one is job creation. So for vet, I think we can see that here in Darwin mostly, especially for the job creations, because with the vet schools they do. I think some of them have like partnerships that after vet you can apply for a job that's partnered with them, right? It says here that the vet sector provides employment opportunities for educators, administrative staff, and other professionals involved in student support services. Indirectly, it boosts sectors like housing, tourism, and retail due to the spending habits of international students. That is also true that we see that I feel like all of the vet schools that we went to, a good amount of the instructors that they have, they were like either former students or other migrants like ourselves. So that does give them like more opportunities of sharing their knowledge, sharing their experiences, and all that. Which is a good way to boost the economy too.
Speaking of job creation, I could give one example. Kath, she's an international student who became our podcast guest some time ago. She's very efficient in what she does, a very dutiful international student, and of course part of her study is industry placement. And her employer sees her potential. And that employer actually, even though Kat is still studying, they already made an offer.
Oh, really?
That, hey, once you finish your study, I want to sponsor you. See?
That's a good happy ending to your story.
So that's why less international students here. The less that would create an impact, a negative impact in addressing the skills shortages.
I feel like with just how history is going, we need people. At the moment, I think we're in a population decline. Australia itself, a lot of the first world countries, first developed nations, they're all in population declines. So our only way of actually supplying more people is through migration. And
I'm curious, what are the main reasons why the population is declining?
Well, I think from other countries, more just the inflation of everything. Expenses, housing crises.
So raising a family is no longer a priority.
A lot of people don't really want to have kids. Some of them do that or just have pets.
For some people. They become fur parents.
Instead of like, because if you have a kid, that's like 18 years of responsibility. Especially if for Asian households, Asian cultures.
It's never ending.
Like for us, for other Asians, it's more common for us to like, if I have kids, I'll probably have to pay for their tuition for colleges too. So that's one of the things we have to think about. A lot of people are not having families right now. And I can understand why too.
And they're more focused on their
careers too. And then if you can buy, like if you live like in a 2-bedroom house, a 2-bedroom condo, it's harder to raise like a family. It's an issue with like the global thing right now.
Especially for a progressive nation. They see the downside of having family, of raising children.
Sometimes I think in other countries too, like for women, they hire less women because they see them as a liability. If they think they're gonna get pregnant and have kids, it means they're gonna have like 9 months
maternity leave, yes, and then they'll be away for a few months.
Which is not right, in my opinion. At least like one of those things that's addressed here in Australia. That's not an issue. We don't have issues with like mothers getting pregnant or having a child.
Right.
They give them proper maternity leaves, even paternity leaves, I think.
Yep, I think that's one of the major reasons why Australia is very attractive to migrants.
Yeah.
They have this equal opportunity for both men and women. Right? Women are empowered in Australia. And I feel that, especially when I work for the Australian government back in the Philippines. We have, they give generous leaves for my colleagues who got pregnant. They can take a leave for up to 6 months, I think.
And sometimes what they would do
even
is
longer.
They would like temporarily fill your position.
Yep.
And then they'll say to you, like, once you get back, you'll still have work to come back.
Yeah, you can still have that.
Yeah.
The same position that you left before, you took a leave. So, one of the downside of having less international students here is the level of competitiveness would be less. Like, of course, there would be less cultures. It's important that it's multicultural. So the more people from different nations come, the better, because you are able to learn how the world, what the world looks like outside from your personal interaction with your fellow international students. But with the limit that it will be implemented soon, we can expect less.
I think like with me, on a personal experience, that's what made my dorm life more exciting. Because when I moved to a dorm when I was still studying, it was a mix of a lot of cultures, a lot of people. We had people from Japan, we had people from India. We had someone from Chile. I think we had someone from East Timor. Yeah, there was a funny guy.
It's very diversified.
It's very diverse. So you got to feel like you see like their lifestyles, how they eat, how they like talk with people, how they converse. So it was a good experience for someone who's never exposed to something like that.
Yeah. And then before you know it, you're starting to enjoy their habits, their culture.
Especially like the food. Sometimes if they have like something extra, they might say, "Oh, have you ever tried this?" And they would give to. Like one time, they were making I think it's called chai masala for the Indians, and I've never had like authentic like from they were making it like from tea leaves, the ginger, they freshly cut the ginger and everything. And I was eating my dinner one time, and one of the ladies came out. It's like, "Oh, have you ever tried this?" Like, no. And they gave me like, "Oh, this is really good. This is really sweet." And I was like, "Yeah, we put a lot of sugar in this." Like, "Oh, that's why it's really good." But if I was never there in that dorm, I would never have that experience. So if we don't have like a multicultural society, we'll never go through experiences like that. We wouldn't have like different restaurants here in Darwin, like the Vietnamese restaurants.
We have a lot of those here. So anyway, vet sector is integral to Australia's international education system and economy because it addresses skills shortages. It generates income. And it supports Australia's global competitiveness. Its practical focus makes it an appealing option for international students looking for quick pathways to employment and migration. Right? That's very interesting because there's no denying that vet programs are your quick pathways to being permanent residents here, or acquiring a skilled worker visa. Why? For example, you are a graduate of hospitality. That means that there are 3 programs under that hospitality. Cookery, the basic, and then you progress to kitchen management, which is equivalent to Certificate 4. And then after that would be a diploma in hospitality. If you finish those 3 programs, you become a chef. Or you would be, when you graduate, you can become a chef, or you'd be more than capable to manage your own restaurant or business. So, being a chef, or if you are a chef, that is a direct pathway to permanent residency.
Yeah. 'Cause I think like chefs, cooks, they've been in the list for a long time, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
they've been wanting like chefs and cooks in Australia.
Without fail, very consistent. The chefs, the bakers.
Yeah. Anything food related for the most
Yes,
part.
yes, especially here in Darwin.
Yeah.
So bakers, chef, and those for child care, under the child
early
care,
childhood education.
community services.
Yeah. One of her friends, she finished her early childhood education, I think 2 years ago, and that did help her get the visas and all that.
Right, especially if you are quick to find a sponsor.
If I remember correctly, we always have a shortage of teachers, right? Of
Teachers.
early childhood education and teachers as a whole. So that's another thing that people should look out for.
Right. So anyway, what can we advise to the schools, to our partner schools? I think this time, what they have to do is restructure their marketing goals, their marketing strategy, because, come on, with the 95,000 allocation, how many of those would be able to be given to your school? So that means it's about time that get more focused on your ELICOS and your other standalone programs, right? So it's not the end of the world for them.
Yeah. I feel like if they survive 2019, they can survive.
Come to think of it, it's not as bad as many people would think. They just got used to the 4 happy years from 2020 up to 2023, I think, that the government has really opened its gates to international students, and they become very generous in approving student visa applications. That is, of course, that time it's understandable because they need to address the economic issues given by the pandemic times. But now that I think the government has, sees that the economy has fully recovered, it's about time that, they go back to the 2019 numbers, pre-pandemic times.
It was a bubble, if you think about it. Kind of like the housing crisis, like the housing bubble. Like anything, like any bubble, it's gonna pop. And
It's just a matter of time.
Some of them, I feel like they didn't think it was never gonna stop.
I think so too.
They kept pushing it, and then eventually now, it's more of like some of them, not everyone, but some of them are feeling like the consequences of their actions. You know, like if you keep getting students in, and you know that you can't really support that many students, and then now we're gonna cut back. If they've taken out loans that maybe they shouldn't have and all that, and now they're gonna feel like the effects of what happened. I can see like the positive sides and the negative sides of both.
I think the negative side is, some schools they're like just mushroom that appeared out of nowhere, and then offering these programs, promising you a certificate and a diploma that you can use for your migration.
Because like some schools they look like office rooms, right? Office rooms with like computers. They're not really like actual schools itself.
Yes, yes, and somehow there's no denying that the system, the generosity during those 4 years, had been abused.
I wouldn't know how I would feel if I see like this website that says study in Darwin, study in NT and all that, and you would see like all these good photos and everything. And then once I get there, I see my school is just like an office room. I wouldn't know how I feel, right? Because at least like the school
because
that
you
I
have
went
this
to,
expectation that since this is that school is located in Australia, and Australia is known for reputable colleges and schools, that expectation that when you go there, you will see this, you will see that.
It would be like a massive letdown for a lot of people. And some of them, they don't even hold like face-to-face classes, right? Everything is just online.
Yeah. Acceptable during the pandemic times. Some of our partner schools, they start to offer that to address the concerns of their students coming out of their houses and getting infected by COVID. So some of our partner schools like Canterbury, they started to offer online classes. So at least because that's understandable. But if you're offering online classes all the time, even after the pandemic times, well,
that's a different.
that's a
scenario.
different case, right? So that questions the integrity of your school, and in a way, it's also the government's move to protect students from dodgy schools, the fly-by-night schools that they're here, diploma meals as you call them. They're here giving you. They have these promises that they will offer you. You will get diploma, and then you got the diploma, yes, but the question is, how are you able to get this when your English is so bad?
Some of them they make the test so standard, so cookie cutter, that you can almost never fail. Then if you do fail, they make you retake it again.
Yes.
Until you pass.
Yes.
Some of them do
It's
that.
like being spoon-fed with information. So some of the schools, are like that.
Yeah.
That's why they have this particular level of schools, level 1, level 2, level 3. The higher the level, that means the lower the credibility of your school would become. So level 1 schools, level 2, level 3. If you receive level 3, then the more requirements would be asked from your students to present when they apply for a student visa.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works. So anyway, with our partner schools, good for them. We have spoken with Sydney City College. They are thriving, and they said their sister school would be offering a new course or a new program.
Yeah.
So that means they're growing.
They're probably. I feel like when we were there, they're probably one of the biggest schools here, right?
I think so.
With how many students they have?
200.
Oh, I think almost 300.
Almost 300.
If they
And
combine both
yeah.
Sydney and
So they're very known, and they offer a wide range of
So I feel like
courses.
the big three here minus CDU would be like either Alana K, Sydney City College, or ICAE.
ICAE, yeah. Those three very well known.
I'm not sure if it
For
was
vet courses,
2 years ago. We went to the inauguration of ICAE's new kitchen, and it was like a massive commercial kitchen. And you wouldn't think like a school with what ICAE used to look like. They would have like this massive commercial cooking course that everything was like professional. Everything was made for the students. So it was nice to see that we have facilities like that actually help train the students how to become better cooks and better chefs, better bakers.
ICAE, that one of our partner schools, they're one of the very unique offer that they do. It's just a plus. For their students is, I think their students, they cook their own lunch, which is distributed for free. So you just have to subscribe to their Facebook page, and then something like that. And they have a system like that. But you get a free lunch.
That's nice.
That's nice. That's very generous.
It's not like when I went to uni, because my uni had shrimp courses too, but the food wasn't free. We had to pay for the. And the funny thing was like the food made by the shrimp students were actually more expensive than just eating outside. Yeah.
So good thing about it in Darwin, in Australia, in general, is they consider vet courses or vet programs as very good potential, a very good offer to address their labor shortages. Not just their labor shortages, but it also offers jobs. It creates job for their locals.
Yeah.
And my son, he is studying in Darwin High. He's in grade 10, and they have this subject coffee shop where they are being taught to become a barista.
Yeah. That's if I feel like if I had something like that when I was younger, it would give me more life skills earlier on. Just like they're not just baristas. I feel like if they have courses on you have to be a barista or like how to make coffee, how to work in a restaurant and all that. We don't really have that in our schools. I think like the only ones that I know.
It's more theoretical. Yeah.
I think the only ones that I know that have something like that would be schools like Don Bosco.
Don Bosco.
Because one of my friends, he studied in Don Bosco, and one of his electives was automotive. So schools like that, they have it, but not a lot of schools I know. Like I know they have automotive, they have carpentry and all that. But other schools, like the ones that I went to, didn't have anything close to like a barista or automotive. Everything was studying, everything was academic.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, the most that I had was I was part of the first aid group, learning how like to do
first aid
and all that. But I don't remember anything anymore. But that's like the only thing that was close to having something close, or maybe the Boy Scouts.
Oh, again, speaking of first aid, I think Alana K College, they offer short courses about
first
first
aid
aid.
courses.
So, again, as I mentioned earlier, Alana, their CEO, is a visionary person.
Yeah, it's very smart because I think
Very smart to have those short courses.
Yeah.
And then there's this security course that once you have taken that up and you finish that, you can become a qualified security guard.
Because I think some jobs here require you to have like first aid certificates, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
like if you're a lifeguard, you would probably need it.
that's why they continue to thrive even with the cap.
Yeah.
Because they're not just dependent on international students. They have other programs or other short courses that they can offer, particularly for the locals, for the domestic market.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we are advising to our other partner schools. Try looking for other avenues to expand your business, or international student may not be very a good source of income or business right now.
Yeah.
But try looking for improving your ELICOS, research programs. You can. There are ways to survive these challenges.
Yeah.
So, anyway, with the implementation of CAP, we can expect to feel the dent for some schools. It could be a bad news, but on the perspective of the government, it's their way of protecting their people and reinstating and maintaining the quality of education here in Australia. So yeah, we can weather this. The more that we have to work together, our school partners and education agents, Enhance NT, to continue reaching out to the people and international students. Yeah. Yeah, that wraps up, I think.
I feel like we've talked about, we've covered most everything that we can talk about, like with the new caps and all that. So, as always, our office, we can be found at 590 Mitchell Street, Darwin, NT. Our email would be skills@enhancent.com.au. Our phone number would be +61 08 7979 2352. Please like, subscribe, and share our social media platforms, and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Spotify. Thank you for joining us on this video podcast.
Whether you are an international student aspiring to study abroad or a professional looking to work in Australia, it is essential to seek professional advice, stay informed, and embrace the opportunities that migration brings.
Here at Enhance Down Under, we will help you choose the right path for your career goals. Up until next time.